if the weather stays warm like this and the cars are sliding around like they were out there, I think it's going to be a real fun race. This package seems to make it a little harder to bunch up, partner up. It'll keep us, I think, in a big group, which I'm torn on that. I don't, it's worse because you have a better chance of being involved in somebody else's wreck, but it is more fun, and I guess fun's why we do this anyway. So I think it's going to be as good as Talladega can be. Last week was it was huge for us in that we led a bunch of laps. We felt like we worked really well together as a team, and now we're ready to go out there and get that first win. And I don't think I've won a restrictor plate race in the Cup Series yet, so this will be a great place to do it.
Absolutely. We'll start with questions. We'll go over here to your right, and it'll be Ed Hinton, the lead off.
Ed Hinton is ESPN.com. Carl, do you think the Roush Fenway dominance, as Matt and Greg showed at Daytona, will pretty well translate to here, or what would be different about it?
It can always be different. Everybody figures things out as you go along. But that last run there, got our Fastenal Ford up front, and I was able to stay in front of the 24 car, and I think the 24 car is the one that stood out. He's historically been really fast at these places, and so that meant a lot for me. I don't know if he was trying real hard or not, but that was a confidence booster to know that we could stay out there in front of those guys lap after lap. And I hope our cars are as good as they've been on the speedways. That's been a strong point for us, which historically, we all know that we've struggled at some of these places, and to be able to sit on the front row at Daytona and come here with that same attitude and those same cars, this could be good.
From today's practice, Denny said going in that probably the ambient temperatures alone from Daytona were going to cut way down on the tandem drafting. Did y'all see that today, and do you see that for Sunday?
I couldn't get partnered up with anyone. I was following the 29 car, the 2 car. There's someone else I was trying to get partnered up with, and I think people right now are a little, they're using a little more caution. You don't want to tear something up in practice. If we can partner with someone for just a couple laps in the second practice, then we'll know. But from my seat, from the seat of that 99, the cars are moving around a lot. They seem to be going real fast. It seems a little nervous. The cars feel a little nervous when you match them bumper to bumper right now, to me. And if that's the way it is in the race, especially on the long run, I think you'll see some real effort in those race cars trying to work it out. Cars sliding around, trying to find a partner that you can work with. I think that'll be really interesting.
All right, let's go to Claire, and then we'll go to Stan, and then Bob. And I'm not sure, did you have a question? Sure. Okay, thank you. Sure.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Number one, are you over last week? Have you been able to move past it? And number two, Greg Biffle said it's going to show this race being so hot, who's really in shape. It would seem like you would be at advantage this week with your conditioning for the temperatures being so hot.
Yeah, last week's last week. I mean, that's done. It's behind us. There's nothing that I can do or say that's going to change it. So, that's last week. And yes, I looked at the weather report this week, and I was pretty excited to see how hot it was going to be here. My trainer, Dean Golich from CTS, he was in Missouri this week, and we talked a little bit about how to prepare for this race. And I'm personally hoping that it's hot, so that it does come down to so there's a little bit of the physical aspect, in the race. I think that's a lot of fun.
Let's go Stan, then Bob, and then Nate.
Stan Creekmore with RPMtonight.com. I wondered if you could expand on the word fun in your very first statement about how the racing was going to be fun, because it seemed like over the last couple of years the drivers appeared to like that 2x2 right. combination. So what's more fun about being in the bigger group?
It kind of depends on your attitude on a given day. I mean, someone described it to me. I think they use the term like it's cognitive dissonance or something, where you can hold two different thoughts at the same time. And I mean, there's one part of a driver at this place that screams, "Oh, this is silly. We're just waiting to wreck. There's no point in being out here in this pack." And then there's the other part, like the little kid that's that's sitting there going, "Man, this is really neat to be driving all these cars around 200 miles an hour, bumping into each other." And so when I say fun, I'm speaking of just the you know, how neat it is to be out there in that group racing at that speed. There is still that huge other factor of, you know, the pure racer in me. I'm not a huge fan of this style of racing. I know that the consequences and the risks, not just physically, but on your season. You know, we don't need a bad race here for our season, but for some reason, whether it's just I got up on the right side of bed this morning or something, I was having fun out there in practice more than I've had at Talladega in a long time, so that's good.
All right, let's go Bob, Nate, and then Viv.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. Is there anything that you will do differently because of last week? I mean, if you are confused or in a similar situation,
Yes.
can you explain or
No. No. I learned a lot last week, so you know. But that, like I said, that's last week, and you know, that's it.
Let's go Bob, Nate, and then Viv. Well, we just had Bob. Let's go Nate, and then Viv, and then Jeff.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Well, here's the ill-advised third attempt. What do you do? What do you do to get past it? I guess. I mean, do you just make light of it? Do you have fun with you're joking around with your crew members? I mean, when you have something like that happen, obviously it's like the elephant in the room. Do you just how does a driver get past that? What did you do? I guess for the last week.
Well, I mean, for me personally, when something like that happens, I've been working on doing just what I did. I gave my honest assessment of what I thought happened, how I felt about it. I spoke with NASCAR and came to the conclusion that those actions are all that I can take. That's it. There's nothing else I can do, and I'm satisfied with that personally. That I did everything I could do, and that's that.
Let's go Viv, Jeff, and then Chuck. Viv?
Viv
to your right.
Bernstein, NASCAR.com. One quick question I just want to clarify. Was overheating not an issue out there?
Yeah, I did not partner up with another car, so I didn't get on someone's bumper. So my car was at, I don't know, 210 degrees or 220. You know, it's a normal temperature that it would be. I never tried to get on someone's bumper.
Okay.
Were other guys complaining of that?
I haven't heard any. That's
Okay.
why I wanted to know. My other question is with Jeff Gordon. When you see a guy like him in 17th this late into the season, do the rest of you look and say, that he's a little vulnerable this year, or too early to tell?
I honestly don't know what points position I'm in. I think we're in 9th, but you know, we don't. This early in the season, I don't know if anyone really looks too hard at other guys and starts looking for weaknesses or things. I think once you get closer to the chase, though, you definitely do. You know, you have to. But it's hard right now because you look out there at the lay of the land and where people are, and you know, a guy that's 15th or 16th in the points, even on the 25th or 26th race, could still make it in the chase on that wild card and be a factor. So I think I don't know if you're asking this specifically, but I think what's different now in our sport is you have to give everyone that respect. You cannot underestimate anyone that could be in the chase, because those final 10 races, a guy can just come out of nowhere and surprise you like we saw last year. So I think that that's a long way of saying I would never write Jeff Gordon off.
Let's go to Jeff. Let's get him a mic. You got it? Go ahead, Jeff, and then we'll go to Chuck.
Jeff Owens, Sporting News. Carl, every time we come down here, everybody talks about the big wreck and anticipates it. The track and the sport promotes the fact that it happens. Yeah. We write about it. The fans talk about it. It seems like everybody eagerly anticipates a big wreck or a spectacular crash. As a race car driver, does that bother you?
Didn't you? Were you the one that wrote the article that we need more?
Probably did, yeah.
Okay. So this ought to be a perfect track for
One
you.
of several.
But that's what the fans talk about. You know, they expect that to happen down here, so it becomes something that everybody talks about. But as a driver, does that bad? Does that bug you?
No, it doesn't bug me. I mean, no. I mean, it just it is what it is. This type of racing, you are, as a driver, you are less in control of whether or not you will be involved in a wreck. That's just a part of this style of racing. Nobody forces us to get in these race cars. I mean, I'll be out there racing as hard as I can those last 5 laps, and if there's a wreck, there's a wreck. So, you know, I know what it's like as a fan to watch these races. I mean, you just can't help but watch because it's just spectacular to watch. Unlike some folks, I do not wish that there were a wreck. I do not hope that there's a wreck, but I know that it's a possibility.
Over here to Chuck, to your left, Carl.
Hey, Carl. Chuck Howard, NASCAR Media Group. Speaking to Greg earlier, he talked about his victory and that now he's in the All-Star race and talked about what it means and the pride of being an All-Star. Can you talk about what it means to you to be an All-Star and also your thoughts on the new format for the All-Star race?
I don't know what the new format is.
I'll let Kerry go through
well,
it.
anyway, I'll skip the new format part. Okay.
We'll discuss that
Usually
later.
the day of the race, I'm asking, what is the format? I don't. Greg will. I think he is the perfect driver for an event like the All-Star event. I think he will be one of the toughest guys in the race. I think our cars have been fast enough. He'll be very tough there. It is a very neat event to be a part of. I've been fortunate enough to be in it a number of times. The fans voted me in that one time, which was a huge honor. I can't describe how big of an honor that was. And I've missed the race before, and so I know how disappointing it is to watch that race. But winning it was spectacular. To know that I guess I'll have at least an invitation to that race for the next 10 years or whatever. I'm not sure. I think it's for 10 years after you win it, something like that. That's huge. But that is a stressor, you know, for all of us drivers. If you haven't won, you know you've got to. You know, that's a big deal to be in that race, and so it's one of the things that when you win, you get to mark that on the in the column of benefits of winning. You know, it's really nice.